Radha Ramana Hari Govind Jai Jai.
Today I wanted to talk about pure bhakti. What is bhakti? What is devotional service? In Srimad Bhagavatam, it's explained in the beginning, second chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. There's a chapter called Divinity and Divine Service. And there it explains what is bhakti and what is the progression in bhakti. So there's a verse there, important verse, that explains really what bhakti is. Savaipung Sankaro Dharma, Yido Bhakti Rathokshite, Ahoita Kyakti Hita, Iyatma Suprasidati. So what is the highest occupation for anybody? Yato Bhakti Rathokshite, by which we can get bhakti to the Supreme Lord. Now, bhakti means, bhaj means it's serving. But there's all kinds of ways of serving, and there's different kinds of bhakti as well. So the verse goes on to explain what kind of bhakti. Ahoitaki or pratihata. Ahoitaki means it's causeless. There's no desire for one's own pleasure, one's own benefit, anything. It's simply for pleasing Krishna. So this is obviously a very, very high stage. It's practically it's beyond our imagination. How we can not be selfish. Ahoitaki. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's aspiring for that. He's Nadalam Nijanam Sundarim Kavitam Jagadishikame. I don't want money. I don't want followers. I don't want wisdom, learning which is praised by the learned poets. I don't want any of these things. Now, generally speaking, if someone doesn't want any material benefit at all, then, because everybody wants something, so they must want liberation. But he says, no, I don't even want liberation. I don't want liberation from birth and death. Then what do you want? Mama janmani janmani shire bhavatad bhakti rohita. I just want your causeless devotional service in my life, birth after birth. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says, I just want your causeless devotional service Mahaprabhu says, I just want causeless devotional service to you, birth after birth. In other words, he'll take birth time and time again in this material world, but he just wants his causeless devotional service. Causeless means nothing for me, everything for Krishna. So how's this possible? Sounds extremely painful, austere. But because it's the nature of the soul, actually it's the highest bliss. But he's not looking for bliss for himself. So by ahoitaki, so this service should be ahoitaki, causeless, and apratihata, not interrupted. So this is in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's explained that bhakti is like this. Now, Srila Rupa Goswami, he's also explained bhakti, and he's given a very wonderful definition, which Srila Gurudev has said that we should learn this verse and recite it every day. It's like a mantra. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadyanamritam anukulyena krishnam shriyanam bhaktiruttama. And Srila Gurudev has explained this verse in detail a number of times, and we'll see it especially in Sri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindhu. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, he's explained it so nice detail. I'll just give like a brief overview of what they're saying. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadyanamritam anukulyena krishnam shriyanam. Here, Srila Rupa Goswami is describing two different kinds of characteristics of bhakti. One is what's called marginal. In other words, they're secondary characteristics, not the main characteristics. They're important, they're necessary, but it's not the main thing. And the other characteristics are the main, like sarup, it's called sarup lakshan. Means it's the real essential nature of bhakti. What's that? Anukalyena Krishnanushilnam. Anukulyena means in a favorable mood, and Krishna Anushilanam means performing activities to please Krishna. Anu means following. So in order to perform bhakti to please Krishna, we have to follow in the footsteps of great authorities who are already performing. We have to receive bhakti from Gurudev, and we have to perform bhakti under the guidance of Gurudev. This is Anu. And Anu also means continually, apratihata, uninterrupted. So this is characterized especially by the devotees of Krishna's bhaktas in Braj, in Vrindavan. Their only thought is simply how to please Krishna. That's all they want, is that Krishna can be pleased. Like when Govardhan Puja, they made great mound of prasad for Govardhan. And Krishna himself, he manifested himself in a four-armed form on top of Govardhan. And he accepted all the offerings. So all the Brajbasis, they understood that, oh, this is Giriraj Govardhan himself. He's come personally to accept the offerings. So this form of Govardhan, he said, what do you want? You can take any boon from me. And they said, oh, just Krishna should be happy, that's all. That's all they want. All that. That's all they want. Anushilanam. So it's, and their devotional service is causeless. There's no cause. They don't want anything for their own happiness, and it's going on causeless, ceaselessly. Even when Krishna left Vrindavan, he went to Mathura. They didn't stop serving him in their minds and their hearts. When he went to Dwaraka, he married so many thousand queens, had so many kids. Still, they're constantly thinking of him. All of Braj still revolved about Krishna, even though he was absent, apparently absent. Anushilanam. So, Anukulyena. Oh, this Anushilanam, it means physical activities, but it also means with bhav. Sometimes we think that Krishna consciousness means getting jobs done for Krishna, which is true. We do need to get jobs done for Krishna. But we should try to do this in order to please Krishna rather than just doing it to please ourselves. Doing it because we feel like doing it. We should try to do it in a favorable mood, and bit by bit we'll come to the point where we don't even have to, a devotee doesn't even have to do external jobs for Krishna, but in the heart he's serving. That's a very high stage. But we should aspire for that actually we should be constantly engaged in moods of service, in the midst of our other life, whether we're engaged in active service outside or not, chanting Hare Krishna. Anukulyena. So this service has to be in a not only to please Krishna, but it should be in a favorable mood. So the example, when Krishna went to Mathura, Kansa wanted to kill Krishna. He sent some demons to kill Krishna, and Krishna easily killed them, even though he was just a little boy. Then Kansa himself came. He met with Purnamasi, and Purnamasi threw him into a pond, and he came out an old lady. And then all the other old ladies were smacking this old lady on the cheeks and said, hey, come on, make cow dung patties. And she doesn't know how to make cow dung patties because she's a king from Mathura. And they're slapping her and abusing her. And then finally Yogamaya comes back, Purnamasi, and says, if I let you go, will you come back again, or you'll stay away? Yeah, I'll stay away. So she threw her in the pond again. Out came Kansa, and Gurudev said he ran back to Mathura with his feet on his head. In great speed. So he never came back. He sent more demons, and they were all killed. Finally he understood this Vrindavan's a magical place. So no sense in trying to kill him in Vrindavan. We have to get into Mathura because we're in a strong position. So they had a bow sacrifice, and then he set up all sorts of traps to kill Krishna. This gigantic elephant, Kuvalayapida. And then finally there was a wrestling match. And these huge wrestlers, like mountains. So they challenged Krishna and Baladev. And Krishna and Baladev, they used to wrestling with the cowherd boys in the pasturing grounds. And they were enjoying the wrestling match like anything. In the end, they killed the wrestlers. So the question comes that the wrestlers are pleasing Krishna, are they performing bhakti? Krishna's really happy. And the answer is no, because their mood is not favorable. They want to kill Krishna in order to please Kansa. So that's not counted as bhakti. It's pleasing to Krishna, but the mood is not favorable, so it's not bhakti. This is on the one hand. So if we just say it's just to please Krishna, we don't say that the mood has to be favorable, then we might include the wrestlers, Channa and Mushtika, Saint Channa and Saint Mushtika, but we don't accept. Then on the other hand, famous example, when Mother Yashoda was sitting, Krishna's in her lap, sucking her breast, and the milk boiled over. And immediately Mother Yashoda said, "Oh, the milk boils over, I've got to look after the milk." Krishna, "No!" He's holding on like a baby monkey. Hands, feet, and mouth as well. Mother Yashoda just picks him up, puts him down, and goes off to attend to the milk. Krishna's angry. He's not satisfied. And then Mother Yashoda, then he breaks the yogurt pot, and then Mother Yashoda is chasing him. Finally she catches him, threatening him with a stick. He's crying, and she ties him to the mortar. So question, right? Krishna's not happy. He's crying. He's scared. So is this bhakti or not? Is Mother Yashoda giving way to worldly moods of anger and frustration, like abusive parent? No. All of this is purely for Krishna's good. It's not a worldly mood. She's just thinking, I have to discipline Krishna, otherwise he'll grow up and be thoroughly naughty. So I have to discipline him. It's completely for Krishna's mood. Why does Mother Yashoda want to get the milk? Because she knows that this milk is more useful for making milk sweets that Krishna likes than her own milk. So she has to save the milk. So the mood is favorable, and Krishna is enjoying the bliss of Vatsalya Bhav. Even though it seems that he's scared. Well, he is scared. But he's tasting her love. So, even though Mother Yashoda's, it appears that Krishna's not pleased, but her mood is completely for his favor, completely in his favor, completely for his benefit. So this is also included in bhakti. This is the main characteristic of bhakti. Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. Now, Rupa Goswami, at the beginning, he describes the marginal characteristics. Anya Abhilash Dushunyam and Jnana Karma Dhyanavruta. First, Anya Abhilash. Abhilash means desire. Anya Abhilash means other desires. Shunyam, no. So one might expect that Sri Rupa Goswami would say Anya Abhilash Shunyam, free from any other desire. But he doesn't say that. He says Anya Abhilashita. It means free from the tendency to have any other desire. And why does he say that? Because sometimes a devotee may be put in danger. Like Draupadi, generally she had no other desire other than to please Krishna. But for example, when the Kurus wanted to strip her in the assembly house, so she had to appeal to Krishna. And she called, "Hey Govinda." And then Krishna came in the form of an endless sari and saved her. And when Durvasa Muni came, Duryodhana sent Durvasa Muni to the Pandavas when they were in exile. Draupadi had a magic pot given to her by the sun god. And this pot would feed any number of people until she'd had her lunch. And when she'd had her lunch, no more till the next day. So Duryodhana, he sent Durvasa Muni with 60,000 followers after the Pandavas had had lunch. And he knew and Durvasa Muni had a wicked temper. He would curse like anything. So Draupadi was so anxious. He said, "Hey Govinda!" Immediately Krishna came. So this is not a deviation from devotional service, because ordinarily she's dependent on Krishna, but she's not appealing in that way. So if the devotee, generally speaking, he doesn't have a desire to take something from Krishna, but under extreme circumstances, then he asks for help. So this is Anyabhilashita. It means he doesn't have a tendency. It's just in emergencies, and then he comes back to his normal state of looking after his affairs, and of course relying on Krishna. Anyabhilashita shunyam. And then Jnana Karmadhya Navritam. So not covered by knowledge, and not covered by reward-seeking activity. But the fact is that we have to have knowledge. Just to live in the world, we have to have knowledge. And actually to practice Krishna consciousness, we have to have knowledge as well. We have to know what the jiva is, We have to know who is Krishna, what our relationship with him is, what bhakti is. So we have to have gyan. There has to be gyan. But it shouldn't cover the bhakti. This is the point. That if we're performing our daily activities, we understand how to make our way in the world, how to live like a Madhyamadikari knows how to live like a devotee in the material world, but that doesn't cover bhakti, rather it helps the bhakti, then it's okay. It's within this definition of bhakti. Similarly, activities. We have to work somewhere or other. Practically everybody has to work for a living. So performing activities so as to get some way of sustaining us. If we're actually surrendered to Gurudev and Krishna and maintaining ourselves, then that also, activity, doesn't cover our bhakti. And in that case, it's still within that definition. So these are some characteristics of pure bhakti. That it's performed with a view to please Krishna and in a favourable mood. And it's not covered by the tendency to desire outside. Like, for example, if a devotee is always appealing to Krishna, oh, Krishna, I want this, oh, Krishna, I want that. No, this is not pure bhakti. But only in emergency if he's appealing like that. And it's not covered by knowledge, and it's not covered by activity. One kind of knowledge, the knowledge that Jiv and Krishna are one. This kind of knowledge is not required. That covers bhakti. If one thinks that Aham Brahmasmi, I'm God, everything's God, I'm one with Brahman, then where's the question of service? So this covers. In the last, we know that Krishna's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, but in the last analysis, even that knowledge also covers bhakti. Srila Gurudev said, oh, your Prabhupada, he came to the West to teach you that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And I've come to the West to teach you to forget that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I mean, because the Braj mood, they don't think that Krishna is God. They don't think he's the Supreme Lord. But we can't take on that mood artificially. Some devotees say, oh, we don't care for Krishna, he's a black sheep, we only worship Radharani. Like, this is bogus. First of all, we have to understand that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. And then when we hear from Gurudev, hear from Rasic devotees, so their moods will come, and gradually that sense of awe and reverence towards Krishna, naturally it will be replaced by the very, very sweet moods of Braj. But it can't be done artificially. Hare Krishna.